Celtics Reddit podcast.
Back out to Smart. Fakes the pass all the time. Three. Bang! It's Williams three. Lobs it up for Robert Williams.
Jaylen Brown.
Tatum. Durant, the long reach. Tatum crossover pull-up jumper. It's good. 50 points for Jason Tatum.
Hello and welcome everybody. It's the Celtics Reddit podcast. I'm your host for this episode, CelticsJ. And I'm joined, as I often am, by the OG of OC himself, Mr. Wayne Spooney. Spoons, how you feeling, man?
Dude, I'm doing good, Jay. I'm riding high on the great white hype. Derrick White, that was a fun-ass game, man. I'm looking forward to talking about it.
So, yeah, the other guys had the chance to really, dive into some of the trade analysis and looking out all the ins and outs of that. So, yeah, I think this game was really exciting going into it because all the junk being talked up till this point has been Celtics are on a win streak, but it's against not such competitive teams.
Bad teams.
Bad teams. You know, teams that need an episode of Double Dare in order to get, general crowd noise to happen. And so it was nice to see them stack up against the Denver Nuggets and see where we really kind of matched up there. And especially because we got our first look at Derrick White himself, so this guy gets on a plane, gets over to Boston, gets off the plane, switches his shoes,
right,
throws on a jersey, and then gets on the court and just starts balling out. So let's get into it a little bit. Spoons, your reactions to this game, and maybe let's even start off with how are you feeling about Derrick White and what you're seeing?
So I did not love Derrick White as a player on the Spurs. I just think he's one of those guys that I didn't really watch that much of, and he seems like that type of dude. Like, we're always telling fans of other teams, like, no, Marcus Smart's good. I'm telling you, like, you don't get it, man. And White seems like that type of guy, because once I started looking into his advanced stats and some of his play type data, dude, this guy jumps off the page, and I think you can just tell he's a baller, man. He did not know where to be on offense. At times, Horford's pointing at him, "Now get in the corner, dude. Go. What are you doing?" He didn't really know our defensive system, but he's just got instincts, man, and he knows how to make the right play. He hit 5, 6, 7 great passes that either were a hockey assist or Grant Williams biffed the layup, and I was super impressed. His jumper looked great, and I think that's probably the biggest question mark. But, I mean, he played the last 17 minutes of the game. I mean, what the hell? What more could you ask from this dude, really?
Well, and even just the way the guy opened up. I mean, he opened up and, Marcus Smart initiates a steal, and then he goes on the break. And then I think it was the next play down, he hits Jason Tatum cutting to the basket for a big jam.
Mm-hmm.
He just came in right away, ready to just gel with most especially both the Jays and Marcus Smart. I love the pressure that he put on the opposing defense, the way he really seemed to align with the rest of the guys in wanting to push the ball in transition, whether it was off turnovers or off rebounds. But I even like that the guys aren't taking their time bringing the ball up even from out of bounds. We're just pushing the pace, but not out of control. There were a couple points during this game it felt like things were getting a little loose, but you could tell that it was from the intensity that both teams are playing each other at. It wasn't just totally sloppy basketball, save for a couple of moments. But I'll tell you, that tandem of Marcus Smart and Derrick White, that's a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know that people really realize how. I think people have this idea of the problem that it's going to be, but I don't think they really understand how much of a problem this is going to be for everyone not the Celtics.
Those dudes are fucking dogs, man. And let me ask you, did you feel like maybe this is a weird comment, but that game had Isaiah Thomas era Celtics vibes around it? There was felt like a lot of positivity in that building, man. And that was the first time in a while I've been that crowd was loud as shit. I think Mike or even Scal even said it, this is the loudest I've heard the crowd this season.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just expecting disappointment. and like the IT gritty Avery Bradley, Jay Crowder, Celtics type of win where it's like, how the hell did we win this game by 6? Like we should have lost by 20 and they still pulled it out. Like I kind of had that feeling, man. I'm getting sucked back in. I told myself I wouldn't, but I don't know. That was a fun game to watch. And it's been a while since we've played a good team and the Garden's been going crazy and we've pulled it out. I mean, do you feel that way? Or, I mean, am I crazy? Am I just like getting irrational here?
Well, so that's a complicated question, but let's stick to the simple part of it, which is like just the vibe that was going on with the game, because I don't know that I've got the medical or psychiatric degrees to qualify me to go deeper on the other issues that you brought up.
You need a lot of them. Degrees.
But I also enjoyed the game, and I enjoyed the game, I think, for a lot of the same reasons that I've been enjoying all of these games leading up to it, even with the caveat that a lot of these victories have been coming against bad teams. Because what I'm seeing and what I'm really enjoying is the consistency of both effort and execution.
Yeah.
And that's what we were really plagued with at the beginning of the season. At the beginning of the season, it almost seemed like, for as much as Ime might have been trying to implement things, it just wasn't either matching what the team was able to or interested in doing, or maybe a couple of particular players. And now something has either clicked in the sense that like they're getting the system and it's just making sense, or something's happened where they're finally just finding that camaraderie and that, you know, the chemistry word I feel like gets thrown around a little loose these days. And I don't know, I think it kind of comes off a little generic at this point, but yeah, I think these guys are really understanding how to play with each other. The Jays are playing off of each other a little bit more, not like crazy in depth, but we're seeing more guard action, especially for them, where they're not just reliant on a big guy coming up and screening for them. And I like that. The way this ball is moving right now, that's the thing that I think is really making everybody feel away, because not only are they moving the ball, they're not stopping at any point.
Yeah.
It's not like they're going ISO when things start going bad, or they're going ISO when things are going well. They're just sticking to the system. And I remember that was one of Brad's things all the time. He would preach to these guys, hit singles.
Process.
Don't worry about home runs.
Process, not results. Yeah.
Yep, that Kaizen philosophy,
exactly,
right? And
yeah.
Ime's, we're not hearing the same terminology and verbiage coming from Ime, but it certainly appears in the play style that we're seeing. There's a similar approach, and he has said in his post games and interviews that he is looking for them to not stop playing a particular way just because the score might be different, whether they're down or whether they're up. And I think there's something just about that consistency of energy that inspires that crowd and gets them fired up. And here's the thing. We all know when Marcus Smart is lit like a fuse, that man, I mean, he is inspiration. He's the embodiment of Rocky Balboa. You know what I mean? Like I will workout montage with that dude any day of the week. I don't even like Philly. I will run up those stairs in Philly with Marcus Smart, because that dude, he's just got that certain kind of fire. And I know I'm biased, and I know that I'm not so secretly in love with dude. And I'm not going to apologize for that, because we're seeing in this stretch exactly what it is that myself and so many other fans see in Marcus and appreciate in Marcus, and hope that we get to continue watching Marcus do on the court for these Celtics for a long, long ass time.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, go ahead.
Well, and so I wanted to say, though, I did have this weird thought pop into my head during the game as I'm watching, especially the two guys play together, because of how much they kind of match intensity and how they can really square up one-on-one defensively, but also cause havoc off ball on defense. And we saw Derrick White scale up his defense and guard bigger players very much. Like we're almost seeing a younger carbon copy of Marcus Smart with maybe better mechanics on his shot. So there's some hope that maybe that could even be a little bit better. I'm almost a little worried in the back of my head. So this is like just it's a weird take and a weird thought, and I don't like it. It doesn't make me feel comfortable. I don't even want to say it out loud. I'm trying to avoid it. Can you tell? with all the talk about different places that Marcus Smart could have ended up at the trade deadline, was the acquisition of Derrick White the audition for Marcus Smart's inevitable replacement?
So I kind of had that same thought. I was listening to the Ringer Bill Simmons' podcast feed. They did like a big 4-part trade deadline episode. And Chris Ryan's a Philly fan. And when the Derrick White trade came down, they were KOC and Simmons were like, "Oh, does this mean Marcus Smart's getting traded?" And Chris Ryan's like, "You're allowed to have 2 good guards. Like, just because you get a good guard doesn't mean you have to trade the other one. Like, you can have 2 good guards." And I think that's kind of where I come down. I don't see it that way. I see it as if Derrick White can make shots, and that's a question mark, no doubt about it. But if he can make shots, and it looks like they believe in him because he's shooting like 38, 39% on open threes. So that's all you need, really.
Yeah.
There's no reason him and Smart can't play together. And especially they're both good ball movers. They both can run a pick and roll. And obviously the defensive side of the ball is going to be absolutely insane with both of them out there. So I don't think so, man. I think this is kind of the long-term vision of Stevens is like, attack. So who are you going to attack? You're going to attack Jaylen Brown's like the worst defensive player on the court, right? Like, that's insane.
That is insane.
That's nuts. Like, name another team that has like that. Like, I mean, Philly's got Harden now. You can attack Harden in a playoff series all day long. You can attack Kyrie. You can attack Seth Curry. You can attack, I don't even know what Milwaukee does. You know, they play weird defense. So you can get shots against Milwaukee. So, I mean, this is the best defense in the NBA. And then we just upgraded Dennis Schroeder to Derrick White. It's like the borderline all defense, you know?
And so in honor of Joe, all right, in honor of Joe, let's talk just for a second about what we saw as far as that replacement, as far as what it translated to on the court, because I know one of the things that always drives Joe nuts with Schroeder is the walking the dog up the court and really just gumming up that offensive pace and slowing things down. And then he tends to be an ISO heavy guard. I mean, that's his style. That's how he gets his buckets, and that's what he gets paid to do. But we saw with Derrick White that he's got more versatility on defense, at least right from the beginning, from what we've seen.
By far.
He's got better shot mechanics, even if he's not necessarily shooting a better percentage than Dennis Schroeder right now. You know, Dennis Schroeder's shooting percentage is starting to trend down, whereas it had started, like, he was on fire to start the season, and he's been trending down a little bit as we've gotten closer and closer to All-Star break. And so you got to love the fact that Derrick White comes in, and the only thing this guy's looking to do is push the ball and move the ball. And he's kind of got those Time Lord fingertips where the ball comes to him and he's not really trying to hold on to it. He can create a little bit for sure.
Oh yeah.
But you can tell his instinct, his preference is to move it. Like, he catches and it's like he already knows where it's going. We had a couple of plays like that where we're just whipping the ball around, and then we finally get the penetration. My favorite one, it's been getting blown up on Twitter, where they're throwing it all around the 3-point line until it finally gets to Jaylen. He cuts towards the basket and then to Rob Williams. Just that was poetry.
And that's
a championship team style play right there.
That was like 2014 Spurs style. And that was like in crunch time. You know what I mean? That wasn't in the second quarter, you know? That was like an important play. Yeah, that was when it was mattered. And I think that's the big critical difference with this team lately is we've always been capable of playing like that. And at times we did, until it was a 2-point game with 5 minutes left. And then we stopped playing like that completely. And we didn't last night. And lo and behold, it worked. And I think part of it is, you were kind of getting at it earlier, Jay. It's a lot easier to buy in to what your coach is telling you when you're winning games. I mean, Jason Tatum in crunch time dove into the front row to save a loose ball. I can't remember Tatum ever doing that. And he's an amazing player, but the dude ain't exactly giving his body up on defense that often. And he did it, man. And he saved the ball. And I think we went down. I actually don't think we scored. I think Jaylen missed a wide open 3 that we generated off ball movement. But things are progressing in the right way. Like, I really expected them to lose that game, and they didn't. I mean, they gutted it out somehow.
And for me, the low-key, real, I think, exciting aspect to a lot of this is the Jays still aren't really playing amazing. They're not shooting great. They both didn't shoot real great the other night. And other than a couple of games that Tatum was on fire, he's still kind of struggling from outside. It's not really happening. And yet we're still finding ways to win, and not even like finding ways to win, like clawing desperately back into games. Like, we're still finding ways to punish teams,
destroy people. Yeah.
So like, I'm thinking in my head, either Jason Tatum just like Markelle Fultzed the shit out of his shoulder or shooting whatever, and we're just gonna have to learn to live with like the non-shooting Jason Tatum, or at some point this dude is gonna go super fucking Saiyan, and at this point it's looking like it's gonna line up with the playoffs. And I'm telling you right now, Philly's a scary team with Harden and Joel Embiid for sure, definitely a scary team. But I'll tell you, man, with the defense that we got and the bigs that we have now, bringing Tice back on to be the third guy in that big rotation with Horford and the thriving Rob Williams, the Rob Williams who locked up Jokic at the end of that game. Now, granted, Jokic got his. Rob had a good line. Jokic had a better line. Yeah. But in that crunch time, when we needed a stop, Robert was all over that. That was beautiful.
That was huge, man.
I don't want to be an Eastern Conference team having to face that. Just waiting for Tatum to go ballistic. Brown to just start smashing shit. Come on. And then you got the rest of these guys that are just gritting out some defense and making you just hate the world around you. You ever play those guys growing up? Like those guys that maybe weren't even like the best ballers, but they would they would sweat their ass all over you. Make you hate playing basketball for the time that you're picking up. Like, that's what each of these guys is playing defense like right now. Like, I can't imagine anyone's having a good time playing the Celtics.
No, and I mean, it's up and down the roster too. Like, Pritchard is not a great defensive player, but man, he's out there scrapping, dude. He's grabbing people. He's up in your face. Like, he's pressuring the ball full court sometimes. So everybody has like completely bought in, and you can build momentum against bad teams, right? Like, we obviously have a lot of talent. That's what was so frustrating about the beginning of this year, is like, we're playing below our talent. All the advanced metrics were saying.
Well, in the last couple of years too, right? And it's
last
snowballed.
year too. Yeah, right. Exactly. And if you can get on a run against some bad teams and get some confidence, man, confidence is everything. It really is. And it looks like this team's got some confidence, and they won the exact type of game they've been losing for 2 years now.
Yep.
And I don't think that's nothing on the back of the fact that they've lost 4 games in 2022. You know what I mean? They've lost 4 games in a month and a half. Yeah. Like, if this was like a random game when we were still 500, I would not be convinced of anything. But the fact that we're on such an incredible roll and then we won this type of game really gives me a lot of hope, especially with White and, of course, Danny T coming back. Obviously,
gotta love it. Shout out
that's
Fungos.
Just good vibes, baby. Yeah, shout out Fungos, the legend.
Yep. So the last thing I want to touch on with regards to the game, and then we'll switch gears, is just in kind of considering the way that the team is playing now. So maybe not specifically the game, but kind of just looking at the last couple of weeks and just considering that in relationship to lots of things that we were thinking about with regards to Ime coming in. Because I know you and I looked at that in depth in the offseason, going into, preseason, summer league, what have you. And, we were optimistic, we were excited, but at the same time, there's still some nervousness because you never know. You never know what's going to happen. And then we started seeing all the things that were happening or not happening. And then we had December happen, and that was a nightmare. Losing a handful of games that we were up by big margins, and then just blowing those leads and just watching what looked like deja vu happening over and over again. And here's the thing that stood out to me, and I want to get your quick thought on it. In years prior, it's seemed to be a priority of Brad Stevens to really insulate his players and to really be sort of a shield for the criticism and for the responsibility of what is supposed to be happening out there on the court and what the expectation is as far as outcomes. He always just seemed to kind of be there to shield that. He never really put anyone out in the spotlight. And a lot of us in the fan base were like, maybe you need to be a little tougher on these guys. And it seems like Ime has come in and really done that. Like he's put the guys on blast. Like I don't think he's done anything like crazy malicious or super disrespectful. He's not shaming anybody, but he's not going to skirt blame from players that maybe aren't doing what he's, putting them in positions to do. And it seemed like at one point maybe that was rattling cages and maybe that was not going to create cohesion, but it seems to be working because now because it's the consistency, right? It's this consistency. They're not playing any different on any given game. Different teams, different players, same style, same pace, same energy. And when we see it like let up for half a quarter or for a couple minutes, you see them do the thing that we've been begging them to be able to do for the last handful of seasons, which is, all right, bring it back in, reestablish dominance.
Yeah, lock back in.
How are you feeling with that? What are you feeling with regards to Ime and the way that he's managed these players, and how much do you think he's to credit for what we're seeing now?
So I will let me get my negatives out of the way first with Udoka. I do not think he's done a good job with the young guy, with the Pritchard, Romeo, Nesmith. I do not think he's done a good job with bringing them along.
Subtitle, he's really just talking about Nesmith.
No. Pritchard too. Maybe even Pritchard especially, because he was good. Like Pritchard was a legitimately good player last year. Mm-hmm. And this year he's clearly lost some confidence, right? I think you can put that at the feet of Udoka in a lot of ways. That said, at this point in the season, that's about the only negative thing I can say about him. And perhaps with where this team's at, maybe you just have to sacrifice that to get this team back on track because, do you want to sacrifice at the time Jay Rich and Schroeder's minutes to see what Nesmith and Pritchard can do when you might lose more games? Maybe not, right? Because at some point, you've got to convince Brown and Tatum, like, this is going to work. What I'm telling you is going to work. You just got to listen to me. And if you keep losing games, they probably won't. At some point, they're going to stop listening, right? Mm-hmm. So I will say the best thing about him, I think, has been his ability to change. He clearly saw Schroeder and Smart was not working. I mean, Schroeder was not playing a lot by the time he was traded. Those last few weeks, man, he was playing like under 20 minutes sometimes, barely 20 minutes, which is the perfect role for him. But if you ask Dennis Schroeder, that is not the perfect role for him. And, they clearly took a long time to figure out his defense, and that's scary as shit. The first month and a half when we didn't we're blowing switches all over the place. Everybody's pointing at each other confused, but it's clearly, these guys have clearly learned the system. That system is clearly really good. And we've got a lot of really damn good defensive players to fill it. So it's working amazingly. And then I think it was, remember we had at the beginning of January, that Knicks loss. I think we were up 20 and lost to the Knicks. Mm-hmm. And Udoka came out and was like, that's on me. I need to start calling plays in crunch time because I thought these guys could just go out there and play, but clearly they can't. And last night, Jalen was like pseudo point guard in crunch time. And every time he looked at Udoka, got a play, and then we ran it. One of them was he ran a pick and roll with Derrick White. He hit Derrick White with the pass. Derrick White got the and one. And I think he just realized, like, I'm not doing enough as a coach to put these guys in a position in crunch time to win. And since I think we've lost like 2 games since that game. So, I mean, he's clearly, I had a lot of concerns about him. Almost 95% of them are gone. This is not a Nate Bjorkgren situation. Like I was concerned. We've already won more games than Indy did last year, I'm pretty sure. So I'm not concerned about it anymore. And for the first time since we were 8-3 last year, basically, and Tatum got COVID, I'm truly like hopeful and excited for this team. So yeah, I think I've got a bet $20 on Udoka to win Coach of the Year.
Oh,
I don't know.
Oh, going for
Dark
big
horse.
money.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sweet 50
spoonful
bucks.
of dollars now.
That's right. Yeah, upgrading the house pretty soon. Gonna finish this basement.
That's right. Yeah, it's great to see it, and seeing the guys really seem to like having Jalen looking for that play call. That's a big deal because
Yeah.
it did seem like last year they were trying to just go out there and do their own thing. And maybe it was just familiarity with Brad's system. And it's like, hey, we know what you want us to do. We're going to go out there and do
Right.
it, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, clearly something. Now, it's not even a take. It's a tangent. I've got like 2 tangents that are on deck, but we're not going to get into it tonight. But one has to do specifically with Brad Stevens and my thoughts to do with his transition into that role and some about the motivation that may have been in place for that, given what we've seen and heard since then. But again, we'll hold on to that because there's going to be plenty of time for all that kind of discussion. I do want to take the last few minutes that we've got available to us for this particular episode to respond to one of the posts that went up in the sub today, because I think it's reflective of the energy that folks are feeling right now.
Yeah.
And so it was posted up there by Taylor Hayward _Boston. Where do you see the Celtics finishing the season in the East, given their recent gameplay and pickups? And so 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6, 7 to 8, 9 to 10, less than 10. I can't imagine anyone voted for less than 10.
Is that even mathematically possible at this
Right.
point? We'd have to win no games.
Four people apparently think so. The majority of folks are seeing us finishing somewhere in the 5 to 6. And then, the close second there is 3 to 4. So folks are seeing us
3 to 4. Damn.
Yeah, folks are feeling like we're going to just keep climbing here. Spoons, I want to know, are you feeling that changed? Like, are you feeling that inspired?
So I think at the beginning of the season, I thought we'd be in the mix for 3 to 6. We're still very much in the mix for 3 to 6. So I'd say that 4 to 6 range, 4 to 5, 6 to 7. But I think we climb out of the play-in, and I think we can give Miami, Cleveland, even Philly, Chicago. I think we can give any of those teams hell, man. I really do, in a first round playoff series. So I think I don't think we'll be hosting a playoff game, but I do think we'll be out of the play-in. So 5 or 6. How about you, Jay? Where are you at?
Are there enough games for us to get into first place? I'm not great at math. Spoons, help me out with the math here. I'm not actually looking for you to do a bunch of other.
I will say,
Okay.
Miami, we're only 4.5 games back from 1.
I mean, that's the thing. There's not that much separation this year. There's just not that much separation.
Yeah.
So it's like a team goes on a run like this. I mean, think about the first year we had Kyrie. We went on like an 18-game winning streak.
Yes.
Like those types of shits happen, man.
Yeah.
If something like that goes down, we're launched into first like without blinking so much. Now, I'm not necessarily suggesting that I'm anticipating we're about to run off an 18-game winning streak, but I won't be mad if we do. So shout out, Boston Celtics and the entire organization. If you want to get on that, like I'm about it. I'll support that. If you want to run off 18, I could. From what I've seen, I have a hard time thinking or convincing myself that this team is going to let their foot off the gas. Now, I don't think that means they're going to go Golden State and run the table like that basically what 79 win team did or 79 win team did for Golden State a handful of years ago. But I just don't see them slipping any further. I don't see them diving back down to 7 or 9 or any of that nonsense. I see us probably in the 4 to 6 range, depending on what other teams pull their shit together. Because, a handful of those middling teams have kind of started to struggle a bit. So it's really, it's a toss up right now in that really in that 6 to 3 realm. It's really just like you could throw some dice right now and probably have a decent shot at predicting what's going to happen. But from what we're seeing out of these guys, energy-wise, focus-wise, and the ball movement, the way this ball is moving right now, you pair that defense that they've got with that kind of ball movement, that willingness to pass the ball and not over, like, the Jays aren't even over dribbling anymore.
Oh, not at all.
Like, that's what made, and more than anything, I think that's what really killed Schroeder's whole vibe here, because the moment the Jays stopped pounding the ball like that,
brother,
he became the outlier.
Yeah.
So whenever he'd do it, it's like, what the hell are you doing, dude? Like, that's not what is happening here.
Yeah.
And you got to go.
Yeah.
Like, it's been nice. You seem like a great guy. But truth, fire, or whatever it is, you gotta go.
Yeah. It was time for Dennis. R.I.P., buddy.
And I was sad to see Josh Richardson go, and I was nervous around how that would look, if not sort of long term, at the very least, this initial game coming out of everything. Because as much as I know that White and Jay Rich are both good defensive players, I don't know that I was fully aware of quite what White could do on the defensive end and how much he really does parallel sort of the tenacity as well as the skills and capabilities of a Marcus Smart. He's not going to be able to body up bigs like Marcus can. I mean, Marcus has got like a certain kind of strength that, like, I don't think is even physically or medically possible.
One of a kind in a guard. Like, we've never seen a guard like that before. It's
I imagine
insane.
Smart's one of those guys that, like, if you really pissed him off, like, he wouldn't actually fight you. He would just, like, put a cigar out in his hand and stare at you dead in the eyes until you just decided to put your head down and walk away.
Yeah.
Like, he don't care. Like, what? So I was relieved to see that, because I was nervous about Jay Rich leaving. And of course, Jay Rich has been shooting fire. But I feel like it's a great sell high because he really did rehab. He did that Jordan Crawford special, and we got a really great value, a guy a little bit younger, longer on contract.
Yep.
And what he does that Jay Rich can't quite do at the same level is, again, pass and distribute and create shots for others. Jay Rich was doing, I think, a really nice job with what he could do. He's got a really cool, quirky mid-range game, but he wasn't a facilitator, not in the way that we're seeing right off the bat from White. And so it's lovely to see. It's been a long time coming, it feels like, and I'm just hoping these good times keep rolling, because we need some banner. What was it? The banner boogies. We need people getting
boogie.
fired up and ridiculous again, man. The sub has been like just
so
wallowing
sad.
in disappointment and frustration and angst, and it's like, we need some good vibes, some good times. Let's roll through some teams and Geno it up, yo.
Yeah. Who do you want in round one, Jay? Who do you want?
Oh, give me Philly. Like, it's not gonna happen, but all I want is Philly.
They're 5 right now. They get up to 3 and we're 6. I mean,
Philly,
very much could happen.
Philly or the Nets.
Give me Cleveland. Give me the young guys.
No, here, I'll tell you right now, I don't want Cleveland, because I think Cleveland will be a problem.
They can't shoot, man. That's
no,
tough
those
in
double
the
bigs
playoffs.
are like we've got double bigs, right? But they've got double bigs.
No doubt. Cleveland's a very good team. I'm just not sure how they play converts to the playoffs. But like I said, I think we can give anybody trouble in the playoffs. I really do.
Yeah.
No,
we look well primed.
Yeah.
This is going to be a good second half of the year, man. This post and you know who always comes out like a flamethrower after an All-Star game. I mean, that's Tatum's freaking that's his entrance song. If this were the WWE or whatever, like, that's him like rolling down the freaking thing.
Oh, I need to start making shots now. Okay.
Oh, yeah, let me get on that real quick. No, and with the improved facilitation on his end and Jalen too, not quite to the same level as Tatum, but man,
he's been doing much better though.
Much better.
Jalen really has, yeah, for sure.
So lots of good feelings to have, lots of good vibes. Listen, I don't want to keep us too long. I know we're a little bit limited with time this particular evening, but do you have any final thoughts you want to throw out there, Spoons?
I do not, Jay. It was good to get back on, just you and me, man. It's been too long.
It has, man. I apologize for some of that, and anyone else that's been missing me. Crickets. Listen, they've been getting folks have been getting well taken care of. I really excited for your solo pod that you got going
Thanks,
out there.
man. I appreciate
First
it.
episode dropped today. If you haven't had the chance to check that out yet, hey, and if you've got any thoughts for a title, if you haven't yet noticed, Spoons, he writes some great articles. Could use a little help with the titles. So anyone that wants to throw some ideas his way, that'd be great. But you really did. You're killing it. Really excited to see how that continues to grow and develop. And I think I speak for the rest of the sub and anyone else that's been appreciating your work to this point, man.
Thanks, brother. It means a lot, for real.
You got it, man. Tell the people where they can find you in all your spots.
At W Spooney on Twitter, Wayne Spooney on Medium, and obviously you can't avoid me in the sub. I'll be there. Even if
and
you
if
want
he's not,
to.
I promise I'll tag him and draw his ass in there.
Right, exactly.
All right, everybody, that's going to do it for us tonight. As always, please make sure to like, to subscribe. Check us out on the YouTube channel. Leave comments, leave reviews, give us feedback. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you don't like. Let us know what you'd like to see coming forward, whether it's different guests or different kinds of segments. Tell us what kind of content that we're putting out that you're vibing with. We're really looking to get engagement from all of you, because when we do this, I mean, we're having fun. We're having fun hanging out with each other and talking about something that we love, but it's also about connecting with the rest of everybody else too, because this is a community, it's a community endeavor. And right now we've got plenty of good vibes to share with one another. So let's just soak that in. So reach out to us and be ready. We've got more episodes and more content on its way. So thank you again, everybody, and be well.